Welcome to the August edition of the Tempo Storm Shadowverse Meta Snapshot. We begin the second month of Rise of the Godwyrm with yet another balance patch. C-Long has been buffed, and Portalcraft in the Unlimited format gets yet another bonk in the head. Ultimately, while Cygames acknowledges Dragoncraft's struggles in the rotation format, the change is far too mild to make any impact. Dragoncraft mains are going to have to hope Cygames gives their class something to look forward to in the mini expansion, as there is no justice when the expansion is named after the ultimate dragon in existence. Since our previous meta snapshot, Resonance Portal and Rally Sword have increased in popularity. The same can be said with Mono Blood, but it is still rare on ladder. Evo Forest has failed to gain traction, while Spell Boost Rune and Handless Blood, due to their weaknesses against Resonance Portal, have become less popular than before. Before we explore the meta in detail, remember to like and subscribe to our Tempo Strategy YouTube channel for the latest decks and strategy content. Be sure to check out the Shadowverse section at tempostorm.com for the full meta snapshot, as well as other Shadowverse content. There are two things Shadowverse players can never escape from: Shadowcraft in Tier 1 and taxes. Once again, Flaming Glass Shadow is at the top of the tier list, and it has remained mostly the same. The prevalence of Flaming Glass Shadow and Dirt Rune, two decks with the ability to leave no followers on the board during some turns, have left to Wayfaring Goblin seeing slightly more play than before, and Rule Nye seeing slightly less play than before. Although Flaming Glass Shadow may be weak against the two Runecraft decks and Mono Blood, Spell Boost Rune and Mono Blood are simply not all too popular on ladder. Dirt Rune stays in Tier 1 in competition with Flame and Glass Shadow for the title of best deck of the format. Only Handless Blood can sometimes outspeed it, and even decks that spam healing like Resonance Portal, or that have many wards to stop Superior Contractor's storm damage, can lose to a good roll of Dirt Rune. Matchups-wise, while Dirt Rune is slightly favored against Flaming Glass Shadow, its favorable matchups are not as popular as those of Flaming Glass, thus earning Dirt Rune the number 2 spot in Tier 1 this month. Resonance Portal stumbled after the quick Flaming Glass nerf early on in the expansion, but quickly recovered as players figured out a new build with triple Terra Finis and Ultimate Bahamut. While the Portalcraft card restrictions only appeal to the Unlimited format, it acts as a testament to the power of Rosa and Kasim, cards that a player can still use without any restrictions in the rotation format. While Resonance Portal struggles against Flaming Glass Shadow and Mono Blood and is not as dominant as the two Tier 1 decks, it is still a very popular deck choice and finds itself at the top of the Tier 2 list in this month's Meta Snapshot rankings. Mono Blood is one of the most complex combo decks in the current meta. It has many lethal patterns, all centered around Mono's unique Evolve effect, which grants Storm to other evolved followers on board. Mono Blood now competes as one of the strongest Tier 2 decks in rotation, mostly held back by a tough dirt matchup. Be sure to check out Essia's guide and try it out on ladder before Mono gets rotated out at the end of the expansion cycle. Third on the Tier 2 list is Rally Sword, a deck that has gained popularity in the past month. It has become more standardized, with most players opting to include more copies of Wayfaring Goblin and Victorious Blader over Luminous Lancer. Rally Sword is the most well-rounded deck in Tier 2. It lacks standout strengths or exceptional weaknesses, making the deck a great general laddering pick. If you want to learn more about Rally Sword, check out the guide written by Frost, one of the Buddy System coaches. Flaming Glass Shadow and Dirt Rune are still great picks for laddering this month, with the former being a deck most veterans should already have 4 months of experience piloting, and the latter being one of the cheaper Tier 1 decks, costing only 33k vials to craft. We will have a Dirt Rune guide from our former player Potwasher coming soon. Rally Sword, with its even matchups across the board, is also a great pick for laddering, and one that does not require as much brain power as Flaming Glass Shadow and Mono Blood. In recent expansions, Cygames has done a pretty decent job when it comes to deck diversity, and Rise of the Godwyrm is no exception. But not all classes are created equal. While both Runecraft and Bloodcraft enjoy having two unique archetypes in Tier 1 and 2, Forestcraft and Dragoncraft are struggling in the Tier 4 abyss. Besides general archetype support, the meta generally favors the player going first. Metatron can offset this to an extent, but trying your best to find this card whenever you go second is such an obviously important thing that it obviates the need for decision-making during early turns. While there are some particularly one-sided matchups, there are also a few decks that are challenging yet rewarding, and this helps keep the game interesting. As we head into the mini expansion season, there is so much to look forward to. Dragoncraft in general desperately needs new power cards to make them relevant once again. Cygames spent several expansions building up the Dragon buff archetype, only to have key cards rotated out after a brief time under the spotlight. Having Having recently introduced Fort and Infiniflame Dragon, Dragoncraft can perhaps use a replacement to the rotated Roy, or cards that can help pile on the aggression. Forestcraft can also use some support to make the new Whirlwind Assault more viable, allowing Forestcraft players to once again terrorize the ladder with angry roach noises. Regardless of what new cards the mini expansion introduces, it would be great if Cygames can allow the meta to develop before exercising the nerf bat. As usual, we will have a card reveal later this month, so remember to check the Shadowverse section of our website regularly. Not only do we have in-depth guides covering a wide spectrum of decks, we also have guides tailored for newer players who may just be starting the game because of the 27 million download bonus. See you all in the next month edition of the Tempo Storm Shadowverse Meta Snapshot.